Good, happy Friday afternoon, everybody. This is Omar Serrato with the Tilted Lawyer podcast, joined by Melissa DeCastro and special guest star.
Did you go live?
SchnitzelNinja. I am live. I will wait for confirmation so you can see it on the screen over there. It looks to me like I'm live over here.
Just on give my end, it's not showing you're live yet.
Make sure you hit the live thing. This is why we edit our shows. Because when we go live, all these issues always happen, and we're like kind of operating blindly because we are,
Okay, there we go.
We're good. All right. Look, I got a lot of hypotheticals to get to you. This is the version of our show where, look, everybody comes to me asking for a divorce. People come to me asking whether or not they should get married. These are the real conversations that I have in my family law office before anybody does anything, filing for divorce, getting married, prenuptial agreements. They're fun to talk about, and they're super informative. You're going to want to stick around. It's going to be a good one. Let's get started. Whatever you might be going through and wherever you might be, this is Omar Serrato with the Tilted Lawyer podcast. I'm here to take your mind off of things. Yes, I'm an attorney. No, I'm not giving you legal advice. We're going to sit and talk like people, as these are the candid thoughts of one practicing attorney, and it's after hours. So have a seat. Feel free to have a drink and join me. Let's get started. Well, folks, I got to tell you, man, for a Friday afternoon, 12:46, I am not properly socially lubricated yet. However, I am enjoying some Redbreast 12, which is surprisingly really good, affordable whiskey. It is amazingly good, very flavorful, notes of vanilla and caramel, very soft, smooth on the finish. I'd imagine you could probably mix this with just about everything, but it's really good, just neat at room temperature. I'm having a double. Melissa's drinking nothing. Dominic is having a pina colada.
Yes, I am.
And I would guess that the schnitzel is having like a Fiji water or something.
I'm having coffee.
Coffee. Either way.
But my favorite bourbon is Eagle Rare.
I've never even heard of that one. What is that? Eagle Rare.
Oh my god. And you lived in Columbus? You don't know that?
In Columbus, I wasn't all that well versed in bourbons. I was probably lower grade alcohols because I was in college. So there's that.
Well, there's the Bourbon Trail in Kentucky, just over the border. Anyway, it's from a distillery called Buffalo Trace.
Oh, Buffalo Trace. I know them.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Buffalo Trace. Yeah, I'm going to have to try that one. You said it's the Eagle what?
Eagle Rare.
Eagle Rare. All right.
Like the Eagle Law Firm.
No, not like the Eagle Law Firm. All right. So this person wants to know. They want to get divorced from their husband of 29 years. So I am married. The Schnitzel is married. I don't know for 29 years or not. I've definitely not been for 29 years. But look, when I talk to people in my office that want to get divorced after these lengthy marriages, more often than not, people end up not getting divorced. Because it's like, what now? I'm like 70. I'm going to hit like Tinder. It's like, where do you go from there, man? You built a life with somebody. Maybe it wasn't as you imagined it would be. But what are you going to do? I mean, you built a life with this person, and you guys don't like each other. You guys do like each other, but in the absence of that person, it's funny. How many times Melissa, have we had these cases, people that are elderly, like in their 60s or 70s, married for 20, 30 years, and then they separate, they get divorced, they want restraining orders, they want everything, and then they say, you know what, F it, we're going to get back together.
Yeah. We haven't had a whole lot of those. We've had them several, and the vast majority of the time, they end up that way, unfortunately.
So, do you have any opinions on the matter, Schnitzel?
Not yet. I want to hear more what you have to say.
Yes, ma'am. That I can do. Okay, so this lady's 50 years old. That means she's been married since 21. That is a lifetime ago. Husband is 57. Together for 30 years. 4 beautiful children, all in their 20s. Empty nesters. Our youngest has recently moved out. Throughout our 30 years together, we have been through a lot. 2 bouts of testicular cancer. multiple miscarriage, deaths, and divorces of parents, substance abuse, going back to school, student loans, etc. I've made it through all of this, but the substance abuse has broken me. My husband hides and lies about his drinking, despite being caught multiple times. I've kicked him out. He's gone to AA, 3 meetings, and then quit. I told him I will leave. Nothing changes. It's probably because he knows you ain't gonna leave.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
I'm at the point that I don't even like him, let alone be attracted to him. His personal hygiene is practically non-existent. That's rough. He sleeps the whole weekend, other than drinking. Often has to call in on Mondays because he's still hungover. I'm just numb. I used to cry, yell, pouts, but I just don't care anymore. Don't get me wrong. I'm not perfect. I know it. I have plenty of issues, personal and family. I'm just tired. I told him that I'm going to leave, but I never know when he's cognizant. He's brought it up once. I no longer wear my wedding ring. He hasn't noticed. Don't kiss him and say, I love you too, out of habit. I turned 50 last year. And when my kids tell me I deserve better, I started thinking more seriously about leaving. I started requesting info on apartments, looking at what I would take with me and trying to decide how to sit down and have this discussion. He has said in the past that he could lose everything but me. I'm just miserable. Even with antidepressants and some self-medication, I want to live a happy life where I don't have to hide my alcohol and where I'm not ashamed of all the half-assed projects that he never finished when I have friends over. I want a space of my own. Should I get divorced or not? I have my thoughts. I know exactly what I would tell this lady. But I'm curious what you all have to say. Melissa, what do you think?
I thought she was gonna say something else. But
What did you think she was going to say?
Generally, when this question comes in, it's because they cheated on them, or they found somebody younger, or they had kids outside of their marriage, or yada yada yada. You know the story.
After 29 years.
But at this point, substance abuse. Yeah, that's rough.
Well, substance abuse is kind of a deal breaker. But it's not. Look, alcoholics are difficult. If you have them in your family, you know what I mean.
Any type of addict is difficult.
Yeah, but she's speaking specifically about alcohol.
Alcohol, exactly.
Alcohol is a thief of life. It is a thief of energy. It is a thief of your soul. I'm not saying other substances are not. But it's hard to overlook alcohol because it deletes you. It literally deletes you. This guy's got hygiene issues. He's given up. He's drinking away the weekends.
I don't even know how he has a job still. If he calls in every single Monday.
It's not that hard to be experiencing a job and fake it for a period of time and doing just enough not to raise suspicion. What do you think, Schnitzel, about what would you tell this young lady?
Well, this is tough because, well, first of all, this is a tough situation, but I've been in a relationship with an alcoholic, and I dated him for 3 years. We lived together from very early on, and he had a son who lived with us half the time. So, while it was not my child, I still had a connection with this kid, and when I eventually left, it was difficult because I also knew I was leaving the relationship with the child. So that's a little bit different. But I remember the day I realized he was an alcoholic, and I said to myself, I either stick it out and I help him or I leave. And I decided to stay and try to help. But what I realized after a couple years is that you can't help them. They have to want to help themselves. Yeah. You can't change any of it. So it sounds like she's tried a lot of different things to work through the issues, and it sounds like he's not in a place personally or mentally that he's ready to make improvements and change. So I think you only live once. I think that her kids are right, that she deserves better, and I think that she should take the steps to separate from him and start living her life and being happy again.
She is 50. She's not 70. She's still a young lady.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say, actually.
I bet you there's a world where Dominic's 25-year-old ass would be like, hey, Maybe she could teach me a thing or two.
Mrs. Robinson.
I'm just saying, man. Hey, American Pie was so long ago. I think that lady was like 50.
American Pie?
Have you ever seen that movie?
Of course I have, but I'm not talking about Stifler's mom.
Well, I'm talking about Stifler's
I know,
mom. I think she's like 50 years old.
I know.
Look, there's like a whole world where...
Or I think she was not even in her 50s, to be honest with you.
How old was she?
I think she was not even in her 50s now that I remember.
What, 60s? Older? 40s?
No, I think she was close to 50, but not 50. Like
Well, either
40s.
way. 50, you know, in 2024, 50 is not the same as like 1980s 50. That's all I'm saying.
No.
I mean, even people at like 80 years old can find love. You know, like
I
and
mean-
have, like a life at 80. No,
80s
but I mean, there are
in
people
that
who
time
do,
is
like,
not 80s in 2024.
Oh, you know, I used to know a person that worked in these convalescent homes, old folks' homes. Mm-hmm. And they're like, man, these old folks are like just a bunch of horny bastards. They go around, you can't,
Yes.
they got like, they have like bouts of STDs that like run rampant through the place. It's like, well, what else are we going to do? Screw it.
That's why
Come on,
some
Fran.
schools- that's why some schools stopped doing like
Literally.
community service at these homes.
Exactly. Literally. What were you saying, Melissa?
But that's why some schools stopped doing like community service in those centers.
Whatever. You know, man, I'm just saying, I don't got any gripe against old folks that want to
No.
engage. It's why not, man? You're on. Hey, why not? I'm just saying, at 50, she is young enough where she could probably start dating again.
Or maybe she
And,
doesn't want to. She doesn't effing care.
Hey, I'm all for that if she don't want to.
Exactly.
Maybe she could just stop being a wife. I just watched this.
She needs some like eat, pray, love shit in her life.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I gotta tell you, man. There's this. I forget where I saw this. I want to say it was on some YouTube video. This lady was like 105 years old, and she started working when she was like 53. She said she'd been married all of her life, and she was like this. I don't know, like worked in the forest, doing like forestry stuff, and she was there until she retired at 100. And they're like, hey, give anybody advice. What advice would you have for young ladies that are, you know, whatever? And she said, don't ever get married, because I'll tell you what, I could have done everything that I did a lot easier had I not had a man. The whole point being, like, she identified herself as a wife in the first half of her life. And then at the second half, she was unencumbered by a man or anything else. And she did what she liked to do, and she lived a much more fulfilling life. And her only regret was she didn't start on that path sooner. There's no reason why you need a man in your life.
Or a woman if you're a man.
Or a woman. Men know that for the most part. Women know that for the most part. But when you get in these situations where you're together for 30 years and you spent 60% of your life entangled with this person, and you've taken vows that are probably archaic by today's standards, and sickness and in health until until death do us part.
Marriage is hard.
Yeah, it sucks.
And
And
I've
then
been only married for almost 3 months, and I know it's hard.
it's one thing for your partner to go through health issues that they can't control. It's another for them to be alcoholic.
Go through a substance abuse, exactly.
I know that many of you have dealt with alcoholics in your life, whether it be your parents, whether it be your spouses, whether it be whoever. But alcohol is a difficult one to overcome. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much you talk to the alcoholic to try to get better. If they don't want to change, they ain't going to change.
It gets triggered so
Exactly.
easy.
Yeah. And there's nothing uglier. I mean, there is uglier things, but it is really ugly to catch a family member or a loved one in the midst of a bender. And then it's like, and she, like she said, she goes numb. She's embarrassed to bring people over. She doesn't have young kids anymore. They're all in their 20s.
That's what I was going to say. At this point, I think she's in the best time to just do it. Her kids are all grown up. Like she said, they all moved out. They all have their lives. So I think this is the best point to do it. Because we've covered
And they
cases.
support her.
Yeah, and they support her, exactly. Because we've had cases where these kind of things happen, of course, not 30 years, but less. But there's toddlers in there or little kids, and it's like, oh my God, yeah, putting these kids through custody, support, yada, yada, yada. But these are all grown kids, and they support her, like she said, in what she wants to do.
Well, here's the thing, man. From the male perspective, this is what he's gone through 2 bouts of testicular cancer. I don't know what that means for him.
That means that
I know what it means, but what I'm from his psychological perspective, Like, I don't know how impaired he is through that.
Maybe they took both of his balls, and that's why he's drinking so much.
Well, look, your testicles are a big deal. You know, if you take them both. I mean, I don't know if they took them both.
No, I'm saying.
Has it left him physically unable to perform? Maybe he's depressed about it, you know?
That's one thing.
That's a huge part of manhood if he doesn't have the ability to do that anymore.
It's like when women, like, you have breast cancer and they remove your breast. That's
we had that case last week, remember?
Yeah, we did, exactly. It's
and
a
we were
very
like,
big toll.
Hey, don't touch my chest. All right, well then flip her over.
That's not what the guy did, but anyway.
That's what I know, he did not respect her wishes. Like, what do you got to touch her chest for? Then just, you know, I don't see how that's so hard to respect her wishes. But, you know, he's probably feeling less than a man, less than in his alpha days when he was, testosterone and doing stuff and chopping wood and telling his wife what was what. He's probably lost all of that. He's probably got a severe deficiency in testosterone when he's had testosterone flowing through his blood all of his life. Which leads to depression, which leads to lack of energy, which leads to a loss of motivation, which leads to
a lot of things.
Loss of libido. And, you know, he's going through it too. And so, look, you're either going to be by his side or you ain't, man.
And he's coping with alcohol, maybe.
As long as she's safe, I could see her going either way. She just has to make a decision. 30 years of building this empire, what's it worth to stick it out? Because she also has to ready herself that it might not ever get better, man. This guy might this guy might pickle his liver by the time he's 58, and this will be over in 18 months.
Yeah, and then, like, what's the line between supporting and enabling if she stays?
That's exactly right. And so maybe not even a divorce, maybe just, how about like a separation? This is a rare case where, look, it might be in her best interest to just get a legal separation so that she could continue to have support, get her own little apartment, do all of these things. It could always convert into a divorce later on. But at least that way he knows. You and I both said it, Melissa. Like, he probably knows she ain't going anywhere.
Of course.
What is his motivation to change? And so,
right.
But you guys are all right. If he doesn't want to change himself, he's not gonna. He needs the incentive. And if it means losing his wife, look, that's going to be a traumatic thing that he's not going to be able to overcome by himself. And so maybe that's the answer. So look, you don't even have to make any definitive decisions right now. Get divorced for 6 months to a year. Go live up in the mountains and go learn how to, I don't know,
stop it with the mountains.
The mountains are the best. What is wrong with the mountains? Like, there's no better place. Like, just go by yourself. I'm going to go chop some firewood.
I still remember when you told me I'm going to retire and I'm going to move to a effing mountain really, really far away and chop some wood and take a part-time job.
I'm living off the land. I don't want
neighbors. I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody. All I want to see is forest and pines.
I'll teach a philosophy class at the old JC down the road or something. You know, be like a volunteer fire department. Something, I don't know, something to do, just away from people. That's all. Mountain folks are interesting folks. They're not anybody you'd want to, you know, be around all the time, but they're
sometimes
or alone with.
She said.
Anyway, all I'm saying is she doesn't have to decide to get divorced. Separation makes a lot of sense, given that they're empty nesters, and so I don't think that she is making a mistake in considering divorce. Her number one priority should be her safety first, but number two, her happiness. Because look, you're going to wake up tomorrow, you're going to be 80 years old. You don't want to be regretful of a decision you made at 50 when you could have had a completely different last 30 years of your life, you know? So that is all I got to say to this person. Let us move on to hypothetical number 2. This person wants to know, it's one of these.
One of these what?
I'm already so annoyed with this.
Is it another wedding party?
It's
wedding
like
thing?
One of these women scorned, I think. Should we do it? What do you think, Schnitzel? Should we do this one?
But what does the title say?
Fuck it. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it.
What does the title say?
They want to know if they're the asshole for laughing at her crying ex-husband and calling his suffering karma. Number one, I'm not even sure how much I could help this lady.
It's really generic.
Let's just see what she has to say. So, my ex-husband divorced me 3 years ago. When we got married, we agreed that we weren't going to have kids.
Mm-hmm.
I never wanted them. He said he didn't really want them. So yeah, 4 years into our marriage, he changed his mind and he chose to divorce me because I wouldn't go back on our agreement and give him children.
Valid.
All right. So who's the asshole in that? Like
Keep going.
He wants to have. Do not rush me before I'm ready, young lady. Let me ponder upon the first paragraph of her statement so I can give her. Okay. I'm just saying, I'm not that mad at him for changing his mind about kids. That's like a pretty fluid thing with most people. Anyway, I'm not really a big believer in divorce. I was ready to be married for the rest of our lives. We had a good marriage, but I guess he didn't love me that much if he picked
Oh my god, I get
kids
I think I get what this
that
is
didn't
going.
even exist
It's
over
gonna be
me.
really bad. Okay.
So was my instinct right about this one? Is this is the woman scorned that wants a medal for her whatever?
No, I think this is gonna be really, really bad.
All right. Schnitzel gave me a say, what was that? What did I say? I'm just saying I can't blame him for wanting kids, man. It's like
No, I think I had a friend who was married and they decided they didn't want kids. And then one day he woke up and said, I actually realized, like, I had a revelation. I do want kids. And they got divorced and he's now married with kids.
I'll tell you what, even to this day,
That's okay.
I'm 44 years old now, just turned 44. There's times that I've told my wife many times that we're retired. And there's other times where it's like I hold a puppy and it's like, yeah.
A puppy?
It wouldn't be like the worst thing in the world if I had another little shit running around. It doesn't last very long, but it is a feeling that exists
It just
in people, you know?
That just reminds me when I tell you, like, this is not very contraceptive. And you're like, you want something contraceptive? Come babysit my kids.
Oh yeah, you want birth control? Come babysit my kids. Watch them. You'll make better decisions. How about that? Oh, Schnitzel, how old are your kids?
I have a 4-year-old.
Oh, I got a 4-year-old.
Oh, that's one.
And a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
And an 18-year-old.
Yeah, but your 18-year-old is she's amazing.
She's
a
a
really, really cute, nice young lady.
Oh, it's so weird, man, when you have kids. When they're like 4 and 5, you're like the hero dad and everything. When they turn like 16, 17, they don't want to hang out with you anymore. They go hang out in their room the whole time. And it's like you have family dinners and they don't come down. And it's like, okay, well, your food is in the fridge. Like, okay. And then they come out like cockroaches when everybody else is asleep and they eat their food. Like a
cockroach. Oh my god.
I'm calling this what it is, man. I get it. I get it. It just it's just a little different than when she was 8. Is all I'm saying. Okay, so let me continue with this. So right after our divorce, he almost instantly remarried.
Claro.
Did I miss something? When did they get divorced?
No. She said it at the.
I guess he didn't love me that much if he picked kids that didn't even exist over me. Yeah, and good on him for doing that. Okay, I know exactly. I know exactly where I'm going to go with this. I already don't like this lady.
No, I don't.
I'm not on her side.
If my suspicions are true, this is going to go down very bad.
She's jealous of the new, younger, whatever. Is that where you're thinking?
No.
Oh, well, let's see. He got his new wife pregnant right away. They have 2 kids together. He got one past the goalie. Good for him, man. I hope they're not twins, because that is a.
You want to know something?
What?
If I ever have kids, and in my first pregnancy they tell me that I'm gonna have twins, you know how happy I would be?
Your husband wouldn't be happy. I'll tell you that much.
We've had that
It's
conversation
like, oh,
before. He'll be
Jesus
like,
Christ. Are you serious? Oh, why? That's what I was going to go.
No, we actually had that conversation. And he's like, that's the best thing that could happen. I was like,
You say that now?
At the very first time, I would be like, oh, amazing, just one.
It's a lot better in concept than it is in practice. That's all I'm going to say.
I've never had twins, so don't say it.
No, but I got a 4 and a 5-year-old. They
Well,
suck.
that's like, that's like Irish twins. So basically, these. Don't talk like that about them.
I don't talk about my kids anytime. Look, they're the best kids. They're the light of my life. I'm just saying, they're little effing assholes, man. They gang up on us. They gang up on us.
Of course they do.
They conspire. They're
Yes,
manipulative.
of
They're all of the
course.
things, man. They're just
And then there's your 18-year-old watching from the distance like this.
little Daria over there. Do you even know who Daria is? Who's Daria?
Cartoon. One with glasses.
You do know.
Of course.
All right. Well, you're not that old. Well, you're getting older. Jesus.
Daria's-
Dominic, do you know who Daria is?
Daria's an old character.
I do not.
She's from like the 90s.
Really?
Yeah. Schnitzel, you know who Daria is, no?
No.
Excuse me.
Oh, well, I'm not going to reveal how old Schnitzel is. She's like 18.
That's right.
I just realized
Married with a
she's from the
4-year-old.
90s. Oh.
18 with a 4-year-old.
All right. So in the 3 years since I've finished my higher education and have accepted a high-paying job in healthcare, life has been actually pretty good for me. And I've gotten to the point where I think I'm ready to start looking to settle down. Oh, look at you.
She got married young. I think she said it in the first paragraph.
I bet she wants kids now. Wouldn't that be a twist?
Oh, wow.
How old was she to begin with? She didn't
I
say.
think she said she was 20-something. 21, 22.
So yesterday morning, my ex-husband showed up on my doorstep crying. I figured something pretty awful must have happened, so I let him in. Got him a drink.
It's coming.
He started going on and crying about how awful his life is. He apparently hates his 2 kids, and one of them is disabled and maybe autistic. Oh, man, I can't read this one.
Keep going.
With the rushing already. Jesus.
Nerdy, geeky virgin.
All right.
Stop being a bitch and come on.
All right. He apparently hates his 2 kids, one of them disabled, maybe autistic, and he has no money due to his kid being so expensive. His wife yells at him all the time. She got fat after having kids.
What the fuck did you think it was gonna happen? Just saying, just asking.
Hey, look, I'm not. This is all I'm going to say. This is going to say
We don't
this.
even know how old they are at this point.
I'm sufficiently lubricated, so I feel like I could speak on the matter.
A ver.
You cannot criticize your wife for her body changing during a pregnancy, but you can criticize her for being morbidly obese after the pregnancy because it's not healthy. That's easily fixable.
That's why I was asking, like, we don't even know how old these kids are.
It
Maybe
doesn't.
she just gave birth. and
Well,
she's
she said it
recovering.
was only like a few years. So these are younger kids.
Maybe they're like 3, exactly.
All right. Hey Schnitzel, how did your body change after you had your child? What did
Do
you?
not ask those questions.
I don't have that rule. I could ask
do.
that question.
Don't ask that.
This is not my wife. I'm doing it for information purposes only. I don't know anything about Schnitzel, and she's an anonymous person, a voice floating in the ether.
That is true. She's an anonymous person.
She could tell me whatever she wants, and I'd have no way of verifying, nor would I try to. You don't have to answer that question, Schnitzel. I'm just saying.
No, I don't mind. Yeah, I mean, I gained weight for sure during the pregnancy, and I gave birth during COVID, so I wasn't really going to the gym afterwards because
Yeah.
I was afraid of getting COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And like hormones change,
Yeah.
right? So I'm not overweight, but I'm not as skinny as I was. I was a size 0 before, and it's going to be
Yeah.
like impossible probably for me to ever be that size again, which
You
is
don't want to
fine.
be a size 0.
But yeah,
That'd probably not be healthy, Schnitzel. It just wouldn't be.
well, it was healthy. I was healthy. It was a healthy size 0. I was getting a lot of exercise because of the job I was doing,
Yeah.
that I was eating and everything. But yeah, I felt good, but it was like hours a day that I was active, like complete, like just straight hours, like many hours a day being active. So anyway, my life just won't be like that anymore.
Funny
for a
you
while,
should mention.
probably.
My wife also had a COVID baby, and our 4-year-old, and so
Oh, yes.
she, she had already had the first one, and then she got pregnant with the second one like right away on accident,
That was
completely
your
on
no.
accident.
That was your fault.
How is it my fault?
It was your fault.
The doctor told her to
It
get
was
it.
your fault.
Shit. I'm just saying, I would never expect my wife to ever be like 115 ever again. That wouldn't be healthy for her to do in the first place. It just, her body changed a little bit. It's not that big of a deal. Matter of fact, those are battle scars. That's stuff that husbands should be proud of.
She's not 115. Really? She looks amazing.
No, she's like 140.
She does look like that.
She's like 138,
And I saw her like
142.
a couple of weeks ago. She looks amazing.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, before, she was like 115. Like, your body's changed. It's not a big deal. Most
course.
husbands don't care.
Most
And the ones that
husbands?
do are dicks. And not fit
Yes.
to be husbands.
Yes.
All right, so I'm getting off track. His wife yells at him.
Of course she does.
She got fat after having kids and doesn't want to lose the weight. My question is, why is he even talking to her?
You know that was my very first thought. Like, why the fuck are you at her house?
That shit. All my exes are ghosts. They don't even exist.
They better be.
They're ghosts. There's no relation. There's no inclination to like contact them for any reason, let alone to talk about how fat my wife is and how she yells at me all the time. That's what this guy's doing.
I know.
I'm just saying.
But now that
It sounds like he regrets.
through the guy's perspective, it's shocking. It's like, oh my god, that's true.
He's regretting his decision, isn't he, Schnitzel?
I think so.
Yeah. It's one thing to have the desire to be a grown-ass man. It's quite another to do it in
To
practice.
actually be it.
And he's struggling, is what I would say.
But I think this is a young man.
He never said how old he was. Whether or not he's in his 20s or he's in his 30s or 40s, he's not fit. He's not fit to be a husband. He apparently hates his kids. His wife yells at him. He said that he wants a divorce with his new wife. He regrets ever leaving me. He asked if I would take him back, and he said he learned his lesson. No. Jesus.
No.
Wow.
Let me just pose this hypothetical, and I'm going to pose this to both of you ladies. What if you all were single? What if both you guys are married? Both you girls are married. What if you were single? And whoever was your most recent ex before your husband said, "Oh, I just regret I should have never left you. I should have been so much better. I want to take you. Would you take me back? I promise things will be different." What
Oh my
would you
god,
say?
fuck no.
No, especially in this situation. He's carrying 2 kids from somebody else. Hell no.
So he's a douchebag with baggage. That's really attractive.
I was not gonna use that word, but you did.
You've been using lots of other words today, so I don't want to hear about you.
And also,
Go
how
ahead.
would she know he's not going to do it?
Again.
I was just going to say that, man. So here you have a guy that's been confronted with all of the perils of manhood, having to raise a family, having to
support a family,
be monogamous to your wife in the worst of her physical states because she's carrying your children. You have an autistic child that needs you, who has special needs, who needs you most of all.
and that's another thing. Does he really think that just divorcing his current wife is going to magically make that go away? Because it's not.
Nah, it's not. But how is that attractive for like how is that attractive to a single woman knowing all of that about him?
You have to be Brad Pitt.
He's
for
not
that
thinking.
to be considered
He's not thinking of it.
like attractive.
If he was Brad Pitt, you say, "Oh hell yeah,
I said considered.
I'll have all of your baggage."
I said considered.
Because you're gonna be next. You think you're gonna be like the last? You're gonna like change that man?
I said considered.
He could be
Precisely that. I
Aquaman,
was
Brad Pitt, whatever.
You have to be like Brad
Does that
Pitt
even
to
matter?
Be considered.
That's retarded, Melissa. That's you've shown your youth.
I said considered.
Schnitzel, do you agree?
I think maybe if you wanted to hook up and have fun one time, sure. Like if you wanted it to just be superficial like that. But
Yeah.
to me, I mean, of course, it would be like I would not trust that person ever again
No.
after what's happened and what's happened to her if I were her.
As a
and
potential
what
mate?
he's done to
Hell
his
no.
current
There's
family.
2
Yeah,
cases in this case. What happened to her, and then him leaving his wife, to which he has kids, for her again. Like, I would never trust a man that did that. Ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, it's really hard to be a man. It's really look. I have been.
It's really hard to be a man. Oh my god.
I don't want to hear your bullshit. I'm just saying. Look, I am very famously known. I don't know if I'm famously known, but I'm well known for being toxically masculine.
Mm-hmm.
I very often espouse toxic masculinity, not on purpose, because it's how I was raised, it's how I grew up, it's how I became a man. I'm not saying that I'm right in doing that. All I'm saying is that there's a certain way that men grow up that is necessary because it's really hard to do what men do. what men have to do is they have to be the providers. I'm speaking very masculine. I'm speaking very toxically. I'm not saying men have to be providers. I'm just saying on average.
No, you were right on that.
On average, men have to be providers. They cannot give into emotions. They have to always be in control of their emotions. They have to always be in control. They have to be able to deal with these issues that happen in life. You got an autistic kid, you got a fat wife, you got all these things. She's probably not even that fat. She
That's
probably
another
just
thing.
had like
That's what he sees.
Yeah, but you have to be willing to forego your own for the sake of the flock, for the sake of the family, for the sake of your wife and kids. If you're not willing to do that, then you're not a man. You're a boy looking to have a good time, which is not what you guys have both pinpointed, material that you would ever consider for a marriage or a long-term
Especially
relationship.
He has 2 kids.
I'll tell you what, if there was a lady that came to me, if it was like Halle Berry or something, or Jennifer... What? What was
I
that
said Brad
about?
Pitt and you criticized me. Now you said Halle Berry. Go on.
I was going to say, if it was Halle Berry coming to me with all that baggage, like, get the F out of here. Shit. I don't even need the good time. You could go over there with all of that. I don't need any of it. I don't need none of it.
2 kids, 2 divorce. Oh my God, no.
It's like, you stay over there with your succubus ass. I want nothing of it. No part of it.
My mom would disinherit me if I ever
For having sex with Halle Berry?
No, she would disinherit me if I ever took that kind of man back. I would be expelled from the family forever.
Hey, Dominic, you're 25 years old, man. Who was like the top 3 females?
Megan Fox.
Still?
My God.
Yes.
Not the streamer
Oh.
Megan Fox, the actor.
The actress. And of course I know. That's why I said still? She's still top 3? Oh my God.
By the way, Megan Fox, the streamer, has better hair than me. I noticed that was a debate going on in the chat in our failed stream. Okay, so Megan Fox, who else?
Probably Ariana Grande, like I said before.
Oh my God.
Oh my
with the hair.
God.
Like, my daughter was listening to Ariana. I can't. She's like a kid, man.
She is a... She's not, but she is. And then which one's the
And
third
then,
one?
like Sydney Sweeney.
Eesh. Too young, man. Too young. I'm old.
No,
I'm
she's-
you know what?
Sydney's not that young. But I think you guys are not seeing her actual everything. You're just seeing her boobs.
What are you
It's
even?
the truth!
What are you even
I
talking
am
about?
so-
Okay, and
You don't know who Sydney
what
Sweeney is,
what do you
right?
think that Dominic hasn't seen to invalidate his response? I guarantee you, Dominic has seen all of Sydney Sweeney. I promise
Everybody
you.
has.
If you look into his Pornhub
Everybody-
history,
Omar, you don't
there's
need
Sydney
that.
Sweeney in
Omar,
there.
you don't need that. She's naked in pretty much every single movie she does or show
I watched.
or
The only reason I
anything.
know about that show, the only reason I know about Sydney Sweeney is because she was on Euphoria.
Exactly. And then we have Euphoria, and then we have the
I
other movie,
watched-
the one in
okay.
Australia, and every single thing she's naked.
Can I just explain, man? I'm a 44-year-old man. The only reason I know about Euphoria is because I had a daughter in high school, and I was listening to the Bill Simmons podcast, who had a similarly aged daughter.
She was watching Euphoria.
I don't know, but I'd imagine she probably was. What high school student wasn't watching Euphoria? That was like the big show for
That
high
was-
school students.
Yeah, that was the
at the
skins
time.
of this generation.
And I watched that show, and it was like, what in the F? There's like gay stuff.
Everything.
There's like the dad was gay, and
It's
like
the skins of this
Like gay
generation. It's the skins of this generation, basically.
it was like, this is not like Skinemax from the 90s, man. It's like they're super woke on the Euphoria show, and it was like this weird exploration into the LGBTQ community that I was not prepared for. That I'm not like criticizing. It was like, wow, man, it's just high school's a lot different than what I remember.
And that one's like nothing compared to Skins UK. And I believe before Skins UK, there's another one.
I don't even know what that is. I don't want to know what that is.
That's the Euphoria of my generation.
What you say? Okay, what do you consider your generation to be?
What do you mean? Millennials, I think.
Do you realize you're in your 30s? You realize you're in your 30s.
See?
My daughter is 18.
Yeah.
You guys are not the same.
That's why I'm saying Euphoria is the skins of this generation.
The Skins?
Skins UK.
Skins.
Yeah, that's the Euphoria I grew up
Oh,
with.
it's a show called The Skins.
Skins.
Do you know what that is, Schnitzel?
Skins UK.
What the fuck is that?
I've not seen that. No, I don't know it.
I don't even want to watch it,
Because
man.
you guys are like Gen X.
I've seen enough.
There was another Euphoria in your generation. I am damn sure.
There was no Euphoria in my generation. You know what the Euphoria
show
was?
like that.
It was called My So-Called Life with that one actress. I forget. And it was not
Really?
not near the level of Euphoria. There was that. There
That's
was
what I was
like
gonna say. Like that was your Euphoria?
that
That's
was
nothing.
It was on MTV. Exactly. It was on MTV. There
It
was
was
like
Claire Danes.
Claire Danes. That's who it was. There was the OC.
No. That's nothing compared to it.
Beverly Hills 90210.
Okay, that's lame. I like the OC. I like the OC, and I liked, what was the other one? Oh, The Hills.
Hey man, when I was like 11 years old, Brenda was my girlfriend. Brenda was my girlfriend, and so was Ariel and Belle. Belle, Ariel, Brenda. Kelly could join in if she wants to. Oh, I used to watch that when I was like 11. 90210.
Beverly Hills 90210.
Yes, it was a thing.
And Laguna Beach?
Melrose Place. But that was like back, you gotta understand, there was no streaming services. You had channel 2, 4,
Hold up.
5, 7, 9,
Oh,
11,
the ad
13.
told you I had streaming services.
Oh,
Did you think I watched
did you
Skins?
grow up in a bungalow in Clump?
MTV. We did not have that either, believe me. I think Netflix.
Euphoria in my generation was the Victoria's Secret catalog.
Imagínate.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I gotta stop saying that. People get offended. There's one listener. She's like, I love your show, but you're always using the Lord's name in vain. What is that noise?
Somebody's dragging like cans outside, I think.
Oh, there's a homeless guy dragging cans outside.
No, she's not the asshole for laughing. I'm just gonna say that. She's not the asshole for laughing.
Oh, I'm having too much fun, man. Oh, okay. All right, so this lady says, I forgot what we were even talking about.
She was
Jesus.
laughing about his disgrace.
It was her. He marries a new girl, now he's coming back and he wants her back. That was where we were at. Settled down yesterday morning. My ex-husband shows him my step. He apparently hates his kids. His fat wife said that he wants a divorce. Regrets ever leaving. He asked if I'd take him back. I couldn't help but laugh at him. It was so pitiful.
Of course.
His audacity also kind of astounded me. I told him
The audacity.
that with 2 kids to support and his lack of loyalty, he is not a catch, to say the least, right? And I definitely won't take him back. And maybe this was karma for me divorcing him. I don't know. What? And maybe this was karma for... Oh, he's saying it was karma. I don't know about that. I think he was just trying to get in your pants. There is no world where he thinks that like his difficulties were his wife or because he divorced you, who didn't want to give him an heir.
Maybe he thought that because she did not like date somebody else or moved on, maybe she's still in love with him. It
He
could
was
be.
pissed. He called me an asshole and said that, and he said he thought I would be more supportive and would at least turn him down nice. Get the F out of here, dude. Go take care of your wife.
Did he turn you down nicely when he divorced you when he didn't want kids? No.
Right. He doesn't deserve shit. He's come to her house and asked her, and so he's opening himself up to whatever she wants to dish at him.
Yeah, what does he want, man? Like, what does he think was going to happen?
That she was gonna magically jump
Like,
into his
look,
arms.
so she was married to him. They wanted to have kids, or he wanted to have kids. She didn't want it. He divorced them because this other young lady with wider hips was going to give him an heir. And then
wider hips.
it turns out when you have wider hips, you're more prone to gaining weight. Now he's no longer attractive to his wife, and he's disappointed because his wife came out, or his children came out with autism, which is a I'm not going to go so far as to call that a disability. I'm just going to say they require special needs, and he's not up to the task. His children need him more than he needs anybody, and he's not willing to deliver. He's incapable of delivering. And now he's going to go back and all of his failures, failed new marriage, failed as a father, failing as a husband because now he's cheating on his wife, going back to his ex and say, hey, pick me. and wondering why, she's like, get the fuck out of here.
It's a pygmy guy. Oh.
Even if he was Brad Pitt, Melissa's like, well, I can maybe have like a
No,
romp.
I said
I'd have a romp, but
I said he would have to be Brad Pitt to even consider it.
well, you probably have a romp and then like turn him away.
I think she's saying like even the most beautiful human being,
Yeah.
if there's shit on the inside, like yeah, you're like you're attractive, but yeah, actually you're
Yeah,
just a
no. Thank you. Next.
Superficial attractiveness works better on younger women. As you get older and as you continue to live your life, as you become more experienced, it's a lot more less appealing of a feature. But I would also say the same goes for men. When men, well, I'm not even sure. I'm really not. When I was younger, like attractive women were a thing. But as I got older, and you know, I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
Omar, they're still a thing. It's just that your perspective has changed. That's it. That's it.
A lot. Like I'm not looking for the same things as I was when I was 18.
Of course you're not. 'Cause
It's
you-
not as important.
Yeah, it's much more important to me is whether or not you're a well-rounded human being with culture and the ability to, I don't know, engage in stuff. Lack of baggage is important. Ability to have a conversation. I used to have a rule when I was like 32 that I will not date anybody younger than 25 because F
Leo DiCaprio?
that. What am I going to talk about with a 19-year-old?
No,
I just
said Leo.
even back then I refused. Like there's no effing way. If I wasn't married, like I think the age would increase to like 35.
32? Younger than
When I was
25.
32,
Uh-huh.
when I was in law school,
Yeah.
when I was 30, when I was 29, when I was 29 years old in law school,
Okay. Uh-huh.
I would not date anybody younger than 25.
That's a fair rule. And I think
Imagine what
and
it would be
And
today.
I think 25 is even too young.
It's borderline because the 25-year-old that I did date turned out to be a stalker psycho. I've told you about her.
Oh
Yes.
god,
I know.
I don't know about her.
Well, let's just say that she was okay.
Is her name Laura Owens?
No, but she could have. She was going down that path. I'll tell you what. We were in law school.
This story is amazing.
She was 25. I was a 3L. She was a 3L. We were both 3Ls, but I was like 7 years older than her.
Wow.
Okay.
And like we started hooking up my third year of law school. And, you know, I started studying for the bar. And so I was like, hey, just so you know, I'm not going to be talking to you like for the next 2 months because I'm studying for the bar so I can be a lawyer, so I could have a career. And then, she was like super stalkerish. She like broke into my house once. She like broke into my house, went through my phone and like identified a conversation I was having with a cousin of mine. And like, how dare you talk about the Raiders with your cousin and not with me? And then she started like throwing all of my clothes out in the closet. And like, it was just like this whole big thing. It's like, what are you on right now? It was just this whole stalkerish, and it continued like that for like maybe a year or 2 or 3, where she would like
Oh my
constantly
God.
like bombard my cell phone with text messages and phone calls and showing up unannounced at my place and all of these things. And
See,
so
this
yeah,
is what duct tape is for.
I mean, I don't think well, unless I was duct taping her, I don't think duct taping my
Yeah,
door was
exactly.
going to help.
No, her.
Oh no, she was unhinged. Luckily, it all worked out. It always does, or at least it did in this
I
case.
could never do that.
It worked out.
I could never.
So, but I mean, did she just kind of give up and move on with her life, or?
Yeah, there was like one last ditch. There's one last ditch effort with her when I was dating my wife
Why did she pass the bar? Or you don't know?
after her third try.
Oh, but okay.
Yeah, so she didn't pass during that time, and then she blamed me for failing the bar. It's like, what the fuck? Like, I remember we got our bar results on the same day. Like, we were both in Vegas. We were dating while we were studying for the bar, and we went to Vegas to get our bar results. I passed, and she failed, and that was such a miserable
You still
trip.
dated her after she stalked you? Oh my god.
I mean, you know, I was a single guy.
You see?
She was an attractive lady. It's like,
Brad Pitt.
sort of. I don't know. I had compassion.
You had compassion.
I felt,
Okay. You had compassion.
I had compassion. I felt a certain level of
The
guilt
lower
that may or
part
may
of my
not.
body had compassion.
Well,
Exactly.
at any rate, man. So there was like one last ditch effort where she made, where it was like, I was dating my wife, and then she was like dating some guy, and she's like, I'm really drunk. I want you to come pick me up.
What?
Either you're gonna pick me up or this other guy's gonna pick me up. And it's like,
Blocked.
why don't you call him? Exactly, blocked. And then they ended up getting married, so it worked out.
Oh,
Your wife saw that?
I was telling her about it at the time. It was like she would ask me all the time, say, "Hey, so was that stalker whatever still?"
And you're like,
It's
yeah, look.
Here it is.
Oh my god.
It was a thing, but it died down. At some point, it just stopped, and it was, she found somebody else, and good for her.
Thank God.
She's married with kids
Lucky
now.
him.
Lucky him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Did her husband just go back to his ex begging for her back?
Not that I'm aware. I've never had a conversation with that guy. Yeah, I do get it. Anyway, this lady is not the asshole for laughing at this guy. The guy's a creep.
No, she's not. What?
Agreed.
Hey, Melissa, could you call Maisha and ask her what she wants? From the front desk. Give me 10 seconds. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next one. We talked about that one. Okay. This person wants to know, what is this? Okay, this person wants to know whether or not they should get married to this person because they're pregnant. This is going to be a good.
No.
Oh, yeah, we already know the answer.
All right. So here we go. I am a 27-year-old male. Unfortunately, I got
this
my
is a man's perspective. Okay, interesting.
I got my wife. Well, I got my girlfriend pregnant. She's 25. She's 3 months. Well, got pregnant 3 months into dating. She was on birth control, but it failed. Shit. I'm starting to get really skeptical of women that say that, man.
Oh, really?
My wife was supposed to be on birth control.
Do not. Do not.
The doctor yelled at her. I
not.
told you to get on birth control. What happened?
And I'm sure he yelled at you too.
Not at me. He yelled at her.
So she got pregnant by herself. She did mitosis.
I cannot force my wife to take medications prescribed by her doctor.
No, she did mitosis. Oh my God.
What is mitosis? What are you talking about?
She reproduced herself on her own.
That is beside the point. If you have sex under false
I got pregnant
pretenses,
with an IUD.
see?
Oh, don't say that! Get that away from me!
It's true. It was Paragard, the copper one.
No, get that away from me!
Copper?
Yeah.
And it happened. Yeah, it makes it like a sterile environment for the semen. So
Apparently
it's
not.
like 99.2% effective.
That 0.8's a son of a
Yeah,
bitch.
it didn't. Yep.
0.08.
It was exactly 0.08%.
Well,
So anyway, possible.
this lady was on birth control. Maybe it was an IUD. Maybe a copper one. In hindsight, I should have used condoms. Which, you know what?
Yes, you should have.
No.
Anda.
Listen, if a woman tells you that she's on birth control, and a condom is supposed to be 99% effective, and birth controls are all advertised as 99% effective,
Wow.
Your
and she
brother-
says, what?
Your brother said some babies come out holding the IUD.
My mom said that to me. Oh my God, exactly the same thing, but in Spanish.
All I'm saying, man, is if you're 99, look, if she says you're on birth control and you don't want to use a condom, I can't blame the guy for that, man. I can't blame him for that. He's like trusting the word of the lady that he's with. Like, how is that his fault? I mean, it's his fault. Ultimately, he's going to be responsible for it. But I'm not going to like say like, oh, damn, she got you again.
She got you.
So in other words, if he trusts the lady that he's with, the same way that women trust the men that they're with, if he trusted her, then there was a 99% chance he's not going to get her pregnant and he doesn't use condoms, then what you're criticizing is his trust of his partner. Am I wrong? Explain.
Wait, how long had they been together for?
I think he hasn't mentioned it. Did he?
3 months
Okay.
into dating.
3 months. Yeah, I mean, I probably would if I were a guy.
I feel like I was justified in trusting my wife when we'd been together for like 6 years.
You guys were living
And
together
we're
as well?
married and living together and had a kid together when, well, I mean, she didn't tell me she was on birth control. I just trusted that she was.
Okay.
I guess I got to take the L on that one. I mean, it's not really an L because Evelyn came
I
out.
assumed.
I can't get mad. Yeah, all right. I'm just gonna I'm gonna retract my arguments so I can move on. So he says, in hindsight, I should have also used condoms. But I figured the BC was supposed to be 99.9% effective and never thought I'd be that 0.1%.
But you did.
We had
You
talked about politics quite a lot. And we're both pro-choice. And she said if she had an accidental pregnancy, she'd have an abortion.
Okay.
After getting pregnant, she changed her mind and wanted to keep it. I won't lie that I'm not happy about this decision, but I realize it's her choice, and I don't get to say it is what it is. So, she's now almost 7 months pregnant and very much showing. Her parents are very traditional, and her dad is a relatively well-known person in his community. He has a somewhat high... I don't give a shit. Why does this even matter? Even
that's
has
the person
a...
that I'm sure is forcing him to get married.
has a high-profile job as well. Even has a Wikipedia page. To say her parents are trying to get us to get married before the kid is born is putting it lightly. It started off just expecting.
Stupid
So
at this point.
when are you getting married? And now it's been more. You better get married before this kid is born because my grandkid won't be a bastard. Shit. They're going straight.
Oh my God.
They're going
That's
straight
stupid
on.
at this
Mm.
point. 7
It's
months
so-
pregnant?
it's like-
That's stupid.
It's such a dated way of thinking to
I was
me.
just gonna say, man. It's like, what is this, like the 1930s? Like we're doing shotgun marriages now.
Right?
How do you think that's gonna go in 24? It's just, oh boy.
I mean, I get his perspective. I unfortunately do, because, you know, I grew up Catholic. I'm Catholic, and I know what he's thinking, but I think at this point it's stupid. She's 7 months pregnant. She's showing. Everybody fucking knows her. She's pregnant and they're not married.
So she says, or he says, personally, I'm not interested in marriage. My parents are both married and divorced twice. Most marriages in my extended family have gone the same, and I just don't really care for the institution. Not knocking it for people to choose it, but it's not for me. Even if it were, I wouldn't feel ready to marry my girlfriend anyway, because we still haven't even been together for a full year. I'm not mad at him for that.
Me neither.
I'd want to date for at least 2 years before getting married with my girlfriend. I'm not sure if we'd really be together still had she not gotten pregnant. And hey, if he's thinking that now, imagine how loud that thought is going to be 5 years from now.
Right, and it's better for everyone down the line if they don't rush into a relationship, a marriage.
What is the point of rushing, man? Unless like it's like, hey, we don't want to have a bastard child. We don't want to have like a child before marriage, and so they're doing it for religious reasons. If it's not for religious purposes, then why would they rush into it? Like, what's the benefit to it?
I think it's a religious reason. Maybe
Well, that's the only reason it would have been
maybe
to
she's
justify it.
Jew. Could be.
I don't know, man. Like, he's seeming to have a logical thread of thoughts. He says, with my girlfriend, I'm not sure. Well, I read that part. I think she's a great person. I wouldn't say I feel like I'm in love with her. And I bet a lot of that probably has to do with her overbearing parents, putting him in this situation where it's basically a shotgun wedding from the 30s. I don't know, man. The girlfriend started off indifferent, but is now trying to get married as well. I don't think it's so much she wants to be married to me as much as her parents have convinced her she'll be an embarrassment to have a kid out of wedlock. In a twist, last week, her father offered to buy the ring. Oh, no, sir.
Oh, hell no.
Oh,
God.
Oh my God, if my dad would say that to my boyfriend, I would be so embarrassed. I would feel like a piece of shit. Like, what the fuck?
You're wearing a wedding ring from your dad. How does that feel?
Exactly.
How does that
Like, my
grab you?
dad offered to buy the ring. Is he also going to set up the proposal? Oh my God.
That's like the most emasculating thing that could
Yes.
possibly happen from a proposal. Hey, I'm going to propose with this wedding ring
That your dad bought.
that her dad bought. Yeah, that's
And
not.
it's just very selfish and self-serving, I think, of the father to even offer something like that.
For sure it is. I mean, what does he think? Like, what if he says yes? So yeah, sure, buy this ring. Like, what? How much lower of the guy would you think if you were the dad?
That's what I was going to say. Let's say one of your daughter's girlfriends, you offer that and he says yes. What do you think about him? You're immediately...
I would never offer that. I would ask him, what is your plan to marry my daughter? What is your financial situation? Have you bought a ring yet? What do you think about, I give him the business.
The lecture.
Don't ask me for shit, because look, I'm giving my daughter away to you. That means you're not asking me for help. I will be here to be the holidays. During the holidays, you come over and visit. You know what? I'll babysit every now and then. But if I'm going to hand my daughter to you, you better have it all figured out if you want my blessing. Now look, she might go and ignore my blessing. Any daughter could do that. I'm just saying, if you want me to respect you as a man, you better have your shit figured out.
You have to be a man.
Don't ask me for nothing. I'll pay for the wedding as is custom because it's custom. I'm not paying for the ring. I'm not offering you financial advice. I'm not giving you a job at my law firm. I'm not doing any of that shit. None of it. You better have your shit all figured out. I need to know that you're a grown-ass man that can take care of my daughter. Because if you're not, I'm not signing off on that.
No, exactly.
And I'll make my wishes known. Whether or not my daughter follows my advice is another thing. It's just weird. I don't know. Schnitzel, what would you think if your current husband, proposed to you with a ring purchased by your dad and was offering other parts of advice?
I mean, I would tell my dad to back the fuck out of my relationship.
At the least, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I mean, yes, that would be the very first part. And then I would say to I guess, why did you feel pressured to do this? Did you feel pressured? Were you very accepting of the offer? If you were, why? Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of questions to uncover there, I think.
It is just such a boundary that you're overstepping to even make that move. It makes the guy feel uncomfortable. Number one, my wife's dad would never do anything like that, but had he, I would have not wanted to be disrespectful, but it would have been a vehement no. I don't need that.
He would never
Keep
do
your
that.
money. Take your wife on a trip or something.
Do something. Whatever.
Yeah. I don't want you to pay for the ring that I'm supposed to buy. That's my job.
Yeah, it's just to me, it's extremely inappropriate.
It
It's
is.
controlling.
And embarrassing. For you, as the woman.
Right. And that your father is treating your potential future spouse with that disrespect too.
Now, paying for the wedding is different. I would expect,
That's tradition.
that's just kind of what happens, right? Like dad pays for the
Right.
wedding. I would do that.
I paid for my own, but it is tradition, and it's but it's not tradition for the father of the bride to buy the ring.
I paid for my own wedding.
It's weird.
So, it's just, but if any of my daughters were to get married, I would pay for their wedding, but limited at $5,000. I wouldn't get a $60,000 wedding like Melissa got up in Columbia. He said, get the F out of here. You got freaking cauliflower hanging from the ceiling. What is that even benefiting? Go put it on a down payment for your house, man.
You've been making fun of my wedding since you got the invitation.
The stupidest thing you could do is waste money on your wedding. Why would you do that? And if I'm paying for it, $5,000, bring your own beverages, bitch. I'll hire a DJ. I'll get the venue. I ain't paying for your good time. All right.
Get a courthouse wedding. Those are really cute too.
So he offers to pay for the ring, pay for the wedding, and give us $100,000 to get married before the kid is born. Hell no.
So he's trying to buy her a husband, basically.
They're trying to buy a place in their familial decision making. That's what it is. And we've seen these cases where people are trying to get divorced, but their parents loaned them money and now they want the money back.
Saying that they never gave it to them, that it was a loan, and yada yada yada.
Yeah, it's just such a bad idea. So not to be nice, but save himself from what he feels is an embarrassment. The whole thing just feels slimy to me. We both have good jobs, and while the money would be nice, we don't really need it. I could promise you don't mean it. $100,000 ain't that much. It's really not.
Yeah, in this economy,
It is just in any economy.
it's gonna go.
In any economy post 1990. I make enough in my job to provide for my kid, as does she. Am I the asshole for not just sucking it up and marrying her? No, do not just get married.
You're
to her.
not the asshole.
There's nothing wrong with waiting a couple of years and seeing how things pan out,
And
especially with those in-laws.
I'm gonna but I'm gonna show my opinion on the woman's perspective. If I was the person in this situation, I wouldn't want to get married pregnant either. First of all, I've only known this guy for 3 months. 1. 2. Getting married with a pregnant belly? Ew. 2. Third, and most importantly, why the fuck would I want to marry a person for forever if I don't know him? You get what I'm saying? Just because I have a child with him? No.
My wife was pregnant when we got married.
Omar, that's different, and you know it.
And then it was like, oh.
It's a different perspective, and you know it.
We'll wait for a year and then we'll get married. And then it's like, well, I'm pregnant. I was like, well, I guess we're getting married in a couple of months so that people don't think that you're a whore.
Oh, Jimmy!
Not me. I wouldn't think that. I would take the blame. It's like,
I got married 2 months after I gave birth.
You see, she was not pregnant. She was a smart lady.
But it's like if you have the so if you had the options, because my wife certainly had the option to wait, I would have preferred to do that because it would have just not been so rushed. And then when we were on our honeymoon in Hawaii, we could have done more fun stuff because they didn't let her do anything because she was pregnant. We couldn't get on the dinner cruise or whatever. All the fun stuff that you would normally do. If you're pregnant, now you can't. And by then, she was probably already showing a little bit. She was already 4 or 5 months pregnant. I don't care about the rule. I would have took all the blame. Hey, blame me for being the whore. I am the one. That is an archaic way of thinking that I don't subscribe to, is all I'm saying. Anyway.
I don't see the necessity in this.
The necessity in what?
In getting married just because you're pregnant, to be honest with you.
Well, it's only because of what you said, the aesthetics of it all. I don't want to have a pregnant belly.
No, Omar, not just that. They're 3 months into a relationship. They don't really know each other.
That is true.
Why on earth would I get married to somebody? I don't know.
Especially because she's only 25. You're gonna want to wait a few years until she rounds out to who she's gonna be.
That's another thing.
And also having the baby. I mean, the hormones and everything. It's gonna take a while, probably, for her to really feel like herself after that.
She might go through postpartum. She's probably gonna go through postpartum because she's so young. There's all kinds of red flags with her in-laws. And, just wait a few years, man. Mm-hmm. Worst case scenario, it's not going to work out. And you're going to pay in child support. Big effing deal.
And that's it. Best case scenario, it works and they get married.
All right.
And everybody lives happy.
That is that one. How long have we been going for, Dominic?
An hour and 8 minutes.
I can't gauge this anymore because I'm not on the StreamYard. Let us go through this one. I have no idea what this is. This person wants to know.
I can do one more.
Okay. Well, then, you know what? We'll do one more and then we'll wrap it up. Which one should I pick? I got between this one and that one. Do you want to do
one? I want to tell
one?
you about my ex.
You want to tell me about your
ex?
ex?
The question, when you asked the question about, would you take your ex back if they came that situation?
What would you say?
They came back asked. Well, I said I'd say fuck no because my ex, and this is the relationship that got me into researching people, which is how and things that happened, how I got interested in the owns the Eckerd situation.
Yeah.
So, long story short, he was a pathological liar. He lied about big things, and he lied about tiny things.
Is this a Risa Tisa case?
No, this is
No.
her own. This is
This
her
is the
story.
SchnitzelNinja case.
Ooh.
So he would lie about like looking at porn, for example, which I didn't care if he did, but I just wanted open communication about things. But then he'd go in and like delete it and say he didn't look at it, and I had screenshots, and then he was still denying it. Or he would lie about like if he cleaned something, and I would go look and it wasn't clean, which is like not a big deal, right? But it ranged from little things like that to big things. So one of the big things was he said he got into this army group. I won't go into too much detail about it, but I had a friend who was in the group he claimed to have gotten into, and that friend said no, he didn't get accepted into this. He was denied. So he ended up admitting to me he lied about that. So there are situations like this. So the biggest thing, he told me that he had an ex-girlfriend who had passed away, and said that she was on her way to his house when in the middle of the night, I guess, and got into a car accident and passed away. So there were just some things, and it's a very long story. I'll try to to not make it too long. There were things that were red flags about the story that didn't really make sense. And so for about a year, I was trying to figure out if this story was true. Talking with his parents some about he claimed that the girl's dad worked with his dad. Well, turns out one of the things I discovered, I talked with his mom, she had no idea who this girl was. And he told me that he wanted to marry her, that he had a ring picked out for her already. And the fact that his mom didn't know who this was, it's possible, but I think in his situation, his mom would have known. I mean, she knew about me.
Yeah.
And we weren't, engaged. He told me where this girl went to high school. I contacted the high school, and that school was in Texas. That school wasn't built until after he claimed she passed. So obviously she didn't go to that school.
Does this lady even exist?
Well, then well, that's the thing, right? I filed for, what is it called? Whatever, to get confirmation of death.
Yeah.
In the state of Texas for someone with her name, and it came back and said no one was found by that name who had passed in the state of Texas. So he also told me parents' names, that her sister had passed as well. He just made up all of these stories to make this whole thing. So I was taking notes on everything he said. I would screenshot everything. So I had everything that I needed, and then I would go back and ask him, oh, what did you say about this? Oh, I remember we talked about this, but I can't remember what you said, kind of stuff. So then I ended up finding out that he told me the parents' names. Then I asked him months and months later, oh, could you tell me her parents' names again? He tells me 2 different names, 2 different first names. And I was like, okay, that was it. So then he says, well, I lied about her last name. Her first name really is, he said it was Amber. And he's like, no, she was real, and this really happened, and all of this stuff. So, but anyway, he lied about her ever existing. It turns out she was not a real person.
What was the purpose,
which is crazy.
Like, what was the point of all of that?
So, well, I remember the conversation we had. He was 3 years younger than me, and I had been through a lot in my life by that time, and I told him it felt like we weren't really on the same page as far as life experiences. And just for me, it felt like I just needed someone who had more opportunities to grow in their life up to that point. So then he said, no, well, I have been through a lot of stuff, like this happened to me. And then that's when I think this whole story was born. So yeah, it was crazy. And he said he had a friend who had met her, and I tried to contact the friend, and the friend never got back to. I mean, it was like just everything turned out to be a lie. So it was crazy. It was crazy.
Well, that's like you can't look. Pathological liars are walking red flags. You can't just like expect anything good to come out of somebody that can't tell you, that has to lie about whether or not they took out the trash or whatever, did household chores. Especially if like you're super cool with whatever it is and they just still have this need to lie. I don't know what that's about. It's a form of mental illness, I'm sure, tied to multiple mental illnesses. But I'll just tell you this, a lot of the domestic violence cases that we litigate happen to be with people who are designated as pathological liars. To some degree, there's always some kind of form of lying about anything. And it could be about something stupid like, oh, I don't watch porn, even though like maybe you could have, I don't know, maybe you were going to be into it. You weren't like judging him for it, just telling him the truth. And it's like still having the need to lie.
It was, I don't know the best way to say it. It was like tranny porn.
It was what kind of porn?
So it wasn't like with the transsexuals.
Oh, tranny porn.
That, which is, yeah, which I didn't care. It was like,
nah, whatever, man.
Okay, great. Like maybe we could watch it together if you want. But I think he was like ashamed. I think he was ashamed that he liked it and didn't want me to know about it.
Yeah.
This just reminded me. I'm gonna say it. Fuck it. I don't care.
What?
It just reminded me of one of my husband's friends. They had a friend when they were in JC who was a guy, but then he transitioned into a woman. He even changed his name and everything. The only thing he hasn't done is the surgery to change his sex.
Mm-hmm.
So they all knew him as a guy. They even played soccer with him and everything. Now he's a girl. He had boobs, everything. And this past summer, he lives in Orlando right now, I think. He came over here to California to get his surgery. And then this friend of my husband started texting him like, oh, yeah. This person posted a picture of them like post-surgery, like, oh, I think my boobs are too small, something like that. And then he replied to the story like, oh, you should show me here in my apartment, something like that. And then this person screenshotted everything. She showed one of my friends, and of course that blew out. Everybody saw it. And then he started telling this person like, we should meet, come to my apartment, yada yada yada. So she's like, okay, pay for my Uber. No, you come. And she didn't have a car, so she asked the friend who was staying with her, like, could you drive me to this place? And as soon as my husband's friend found out, he was like, no, don't come. I don't want anybody finding out. Send me a video of you deleting everything that I said.
Oh my God.
Did they delete everything he sent?
Yeah, but before she screen recorded everything, and then she deleted it.
What is the point of all of that? I don't understand.
Oh my, this guy was a jackass. He was a really bad person. So this was really funny. This was the kind of macho man, like super macho man.
That was into like trannies?
Yeah, but no, he would never portray himself that way. He was super macho man. He disliked.
He's probably super
people.
macho man because he's into trannies.
Exactly.
It's like an overcompensation, maybe.
One of my best friends said that when she met him, but without proof. She just said like, he strikes to me like this kind of guy, but no, we have proof.
Who cares, man? Like, be into what you're into, man. Who gives a shit about what you like?
No, that's totally true.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you despise it so much and you say it out loud that you despise it so much, and then this comes out.
Lots of pastors of churches, reverends.
Oh my God, yeah. That's...
I don't know, man. I don't know what the deal is with pathological liars. I really don't. I've heard all kinds of different stories. I just know that they're walking red flags and they can't be relied upon. And you can't build a life with somebody like that constantly is trying to build the foundations of your legacy in quicksand. It's just not a good place to be in. Let me get into this hypothetical. Do you guys want to do this one that guy wants to leave his wife?
There's a thunderstorm outside.
I know. I heard it. This guy wants to divorce his wife after his wife cheated on him 15 years ago. now that their kids are in college? Or should we do one that this guy, I stopped wearing what my husband gave me after he said that it's his money? Those are the two options. Which ones do you guys want to do?
They both sound lame, but
All right. Schnitzel can be the tiebreaker.
The second one.
Okay, so I am a 26-year-old female. Had been with my husband for 5 years. He's 30 years old. Married for 3 months. I'm a housewife, and I have a little side job so I can buy what I want. My husband has a high-paying job that covers all the utilities and bills. Just a little background. After we got married, my husband insisted for me to stop working altogether since his paycheck can cover everything and help us live comfortably, so I agreed. Last Monday, when I got home, after I bought groceries, he asked how much was it. I told him it was $9.50 since he has requests and additions to the list. If not, it will be only $8.50 just like every month. What is she talking about?
groceries.
Groceries $9.50?
We don't know how big their family is.
What's your grocery bill like?
Mine?
Yes.
$300 maybe.
What about you, Schnitzel?
It's probably like $220.
Yeah,
week.
$9.50? Jesus.
Maybe she'd make groceries for the entire month. Yeah.
After that, he got angry at me, told me to stop using his paycheck since it's not my money. They're married, right?
Yes.
That is her money.
Yes.
I explained to him that I followed the list and got his request. He didn't listen and said that I'm basically throwing it all away. I was taken aback since I only use his money to pay the bills and utilities. I have a side job for my interests, and I never ask him something unless I needed it. I was so angry at his accusation that after the day, I began to dig up my old stuff and used it instead, and I also stopped wearing or using his gifts. This is stupid. He confronted me and asked me why. I only said that I don't feel like throwing his money away. He looked sad and left. So when I told my friends about it, they said that what I did was petty and I should just listen. Some of them said that I should be pettier.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
I'm that kind of friend. You should be pettier.
Why would you tell somebody that?
How do you mean why?
Because of what point does that serve? To be
No,
petty.
it's not going to
It's
serve.
not healthy. I mean, it's
We don't do it to
Okay.
help. We do it to piss him even fucking more.
But what is that going to benefit anybody?
You're going to have a good time.
All right.
I mean, neither thing is healthy for the relationship.
Yeah, nothing.
You
At
know,
this point,
like-
nothing.
I guess.
But it's like it feels like he's not listening to her
Either.
And I suppose maybe she could listen, but they need to sit down and have a conversation about.
Should they
like,
go to therapy?
This is,
No.
yeah, I mean, if they need a third party to help facilitate the conversation, but
Yeah.
you know, you can't just hold those feelings in and not talk about it because it's going to create animosity in a relationship.
There is a legit thunderstorm going on outside of my office right now. And I'm really enjoying it. But for the noise that it's creating, which I don't even know if it's being picked up on the live stream or not.
I can't hear it.
Yeah. So she says, my parents reprimanded me for taking things too far. Too far? What are these people talking about? Like, this is so stupid.
She just took her old clothes out and started wearing them. What the hell?
That's the
That's
extent
too
of
far? That's what she said that she did.
it? I'd be like, what are you wearing your pajamas for?
You,
What do you dress like that for? What's wrong with
you
you?
told me that one
They
day
have like Mickey
when I
Mouse
came
on
with a
them.
jumpsuit, and you were like, "Why are you wearing your pajamas?" And I was like,
It looked like you were wearing pajamas. I was like, what is this? Anyway, it's been 4 days now. We haven't talked. I'm starting to think that I really did go too far. Am I the
No.
asshole for rejecting his gifts?
"You just wore your own clothes. What's the problem?"
What are you talking about, lady? Since people are asking about why we spend such amount on groceries, I don't care why you spend it on groceries. My husband likes getting those high quality products. Okay.
Oh, so it's his fault. So you were shopping at Erewhon? Oh, then it's his fault.
Like Wagyu beef.
Am I allowed to just tell these people to get an effing life and just like get over it? What are we doing? Like you're rejecting your husband's gifts? Why? Like what was the? Did I miss? Like, what was the logical thread and why she's rejecting his gifts?
So
What did I
the
miss?
issue
Because it's his money.
Because it's his money.
Okay.
So the issue was that she went grocery shopping, and from what she's saying here, she went shopping in Erewhon because $9.50 Erewhon, and then
What does that mean?
Erewhon is a super expensive supermarket, like in the Beverly Hills area. Like, it's stupidly expensive. A box of strawberries is like $20.
That's
But anyway,
retarded.
Exactly. But anyway, let's say, because she said, like, my husband likes high quality products and organic, that means she went shopping at one of those places, and the bill escalated to that point. He got upset because he was saying, like, what were you shopping for? She showed him the bill, showed him everything. He had some extra things to add when she did the groceries. And then he's saying that she was spending her money, his money. And she was like, I was only buying what you asked me to buy. And
I'm
then he's like,
confused.
it's my money.
I don't think. Look, you just narrated a whole story that I don't think was like in this hypothetical.
Yeah.
She spent $950 on groceries, right?
Exactly.
He asked how much was it. I told him $950 since he has requests in addition to the list. If not, it would only be $850. Oh, $850 instead of $950. So his request amounted to about $100.
Yeah.
What are they spending? That's why I asked you. How much do you spend? How do you spend
Omar,
$850 on groceries?
I'm going to just put it to this perspective. For Kim Kardashian, maybe this is nothing, but for us it's a lot. Let's just put it in that way.
No, I'm not. For Kim Kardashian, it's a lot. Go ahead,
But
Schnitzel.
if he was expecting 850, then like I think we could say that's our 200 or 300, right?
Exactly.
But if that was what was expected, but it's 100 more, which seems kind of silly because it's already fucking $850. What's an extra $100, right? But I think what Melissa said is the narration she gave, I felt was pretty accurate.
He got pissed because
The explanation she says is, I would like to add that we have our weekly dinner with our friends and family, and we're usually the host. My husband likes getting those high quality products.
Okay, there
so
it is.
I can cook those 5-star like dishes for our family and friends.
That's expensive. So wine, Wagyu, A5, just put it
I
out
could
there.
shop for all of that and keep it on the $300.
Omar, we're not talking about that. Oh my God, stop it!
I live in Southern California. I'm not like living in Arkansas somewhere. Like, what are we talking about? $850? Even if I'm spending like premium prices going to like Sprouts or whatever, this $20 for strawberries. How are you cooking with those ingredients? How's it costing $850?
Okay, Omar, cooking for two is not the same as cooking for, like, maybe you said hosting weekly. That's a lot.
All right, but I just need
Okay,
I need confirmation.
You family of 5, because you're a family of 5. You spend how much? You said $220?
Oh, I probably spend $1,200 a month
And
on
it's
groceries.
You, okay, it's you, family of 5.
Family of 5.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's say you did weekly hostings, like this person is saying, you're not going to spend $1,200.
I'm not spending no $1,200 on guests. I'll tell you what, if I'm hosting, I'm not cooking Wagyu steaks.
That's what she's pointing out.
I'm cooking hot dogs. I'm cooking some hot links.
Okay.
I'll make my world famous mac and cheese. I will make I don't know.
Okay.
But people
This
will
is the
enjoy
thing,
it.
This is the thing she's saying. This is a request from her husband. He actually requested that. He did not say, oh, you cook what you want. No, he requested that. He's like, high quality ingredients, high meals, like super gourmet, stuff like that. So it was his request.
I don't like
And then
any of these people,
she saw
man.
some stuff. She saw stuff that was like, oh, I bet he would really like she was being thoughtful in her purchase.
I gotta say, man, if I give, just today, I gave Melissa like $40 to go get coffee and donuts, and then she asked me for more. It's like, more for what? She gave me the change.
No, you gave me 23.
Oh, I did, and then he gave me an extra 20.
Exactly. I was like, necesito plata.
Necesito plata libre. Look, man, I'm just. What are we even arguing about? The difference between $850 and $950.
That was a boiling point, and then he
Listen.
said that it was his money, and his money, and she
It's
was
not, though.
wasting. No, it's not.
It's
because
not.
they're married.
I have an Amex card for the family. Like, I have an Amex account. My wife has her own card. My daughter has her own card for emergencies. They spend freely on that card whatever they need. There's never been a time where I'm like griping over $100, especially on a one-time. Like, I guess I'm trying to understand what this guy's beef is. If the average bill is $850, she comes back spending $950. Maybe was he really all that upset about it, though?
Maybe he had a bad day, and that's why he blew it up.
He
on
got
her.
angry at me and told me to stop using his paycheck since it's not my money. But, okay. I explained to him that I followed the list and got his request. He didn't listen, so I'm basically throwing it all away. I was taking it back since I only use his money to pay the bills and utilities. I have a side job for my interest. I was angry, so I stopped wearing the clothes he bought me. You're retarded. Go take a bath. Like, what is she doing? Like, what is that even? How is
Omar,
that
I'm
like
sorry, everybody's wrong in here.
All right, that's why I said I don't find redeeming qualities in any of the parties in this hypo.
This is the time where I should play the TikTok audio that's Kim that's saying, and I'm not
Stop being a
going
bitch
if
and
I
come
don't
on."
get as sweet as this tie. Blah, 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 blah. You're looking for Cardi B?
I was not. I'm trying to figure out where all of my buttons are. Ooh, that's a good one. That was the bleep button. That was the bleep
That was
button.
the bleep button?
And it
yes.
turned into this.
Bitch. Suck my dick, you virgin bitch.
It's funny.
All right, man.
The relationship I was in with the alcoholic, he was like the main person making money because it was a controlling relationship, and basically he wanted me to quit working
Yeah.
so I would be at home all the time, and that's what ended up happening. And he would use the money against me then after that and say, I pay for this, I pay for that.
That is
like
a
when he
form
was angry or upset.
of domestic violence.
Financial abuse.
Yes, it is. I knew it at the time, and I didn't leave. It was hard to accept that that's what was happening to me, and that's just a little bit of what was happening.
I'm sure.
But I finally got out, and when I left, the day I moved out, also he had a safe that I wasn't allowed to have the code to, but it had my personal documents in it, my birth certificate, my passport, my car title, all this stuff. So anyway, so he unlocked it for me so I could move out, and on top of all my documents was an engagement ring.
That he had
It
bought
was
for
so
you?
fucked up. Yes. And he was gone. He was at work. He put it there before he left for work, knowing that I was going to come home and move all my things out that night when I was finished. At that point, I did have a job. Like in the last maybe 3 or 4 months, I got a job. Because we broke up and then got back together. But anyway, so yeah, so he did it on purpose. Like basically, like, I don't want you to leave. I want to get married, and it was the ring that we had talked about. Like,
Yeah.
that if we got married and stuff, that
was the
what I
ring
would
you
want.
wanted.
Yes. And so I remember I just like picked it up and set it down and then just grabbed my shit and got out. It was like,
Smart move.
it was messed up. But anyway, so he would use money to like control me. So he did buy me some clothes, and I remember having that feeling of like this in my situation anyway. I'm not saying she's justified. I think it's like super petty and you should talk about it, right? I'm not like justifying what she did, but I remember that feeling of the clothes felt like control. It felt like that financial control because I knew he bought those for me. I knew he would use the money against me in certain situations. So I had times where I did feel like I didn't want to wear, things that he had bought me. So I do understand the feeling, but again, you have to like talk about it.
All I gotta say is this: if you're in a marriage and you're viewing money as mine and yours, then you're already missing the mark, because legally it is not. Like 50 cents of every dollar that you make belongs to your husband, and vice versa. And so the fact that because it came from my paycheck, he's trying to maintain a sense of separation in the marriage that has no place. I mean, that'd be appropriate if like you've been dating for 6 months, I guess.
This reminded me of I think this was in Reddit as well. This was this lady. She was telling the story of how her grandma stopped driving like 23 years ago because her grandma had always been a stay-at-home mom for her 5 children, and her grandpa used to go to work. And then every single night, her grandpa demanded a hot meal, a hot plate in the table as soon as he got from work. And then one day, grandma got stranded in traffic. Something happened. I don't know what it was, but she was not able to get on time home to get this meal to the grandpa. the grandfather. And then when she got home, she started apologizing, letting him like, oh, this happened. And then she went right to work on his dinner. And then he's like, some women shouldn't even drive. You should be chained to home to not miss your, like, what you have to do. And she was like, oh, really? That's what you thought? Yeah. She stopped driving.
Well, that's not
Like,
a form
okay, then you're
of,
going to have to take me everywhere. And then he, like, for the very first couple of months, he was okay with it. But then he started, like, seeing how the fuzz of it. And then he started apologizing. She never, ever picked up a car again until the day she passed away. Even with him apologizing and everything. I was like, ooh, petty.
I'm just going to say this, man. Maybe the guy was having a bad day.
Yeah, it could have been.
But
But that's
giving
not a
her
nice-
advice to start being petty with this guy was not helping. If it really was a bad day, the guy was going to get over it. He was on his man period or something. Let him go play golf. Let him go have a weekend, blow off some steam. He'll be fine. You know, if it's not been an issue before this, pettiness was not going to do anything other than exacerbate the
Omar,
situation.
it's just clothes. She just took out her old clothes.
I'm not saying that anything about here matters. It's not material. It's a stupid argument that could turn into a big thing in the wrong hands, is all. He shouldn't have been upset about an extra $100 here or there. She shouldn't have done the whole thing where she's listening to her stupid girlfriend and, oh yeah, just wear only the stuff that you bought for yourself and like throw it in his face like that's going to do anything.
She's not throwing it in his face. He was the one who asked.
I mean, it's not gonna resolve anything. If what he wants at the end of the day is to like figure out how they can move forward together in a healthy way with their finances, like visibly wearing different clothes and knowing he's gonna like notice it is probably not the best way to go about that.
Well, it's not very mature. That's what I'll say. It's not something that a grown woman would do. But then again, you know, a grown man would not put her in a position where she's having to explain herself
Maybe
over
he
an
caught
additional
her in a
$100.
bad day as well. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Everybody was in a bad day.
Which is why this was like a bad... You guys chose poorly when choosing over the two hypotheticals we're going to do. I don't know what the other one was about anyway. It was about...
Read the title.
Guy wanted to leave his wife because he discovered that his wife cheated on him 15 years ago. Yeah. I'd do that one, but Schnitzel's got to go. And I don't want to be stingy with her time. Until next time. Schnitzel, you're always a welcome guest on the Family Law After Dark, Poker Night, whatever special episodes that we have, and whatever else you want to participate in. You've been a wonderful participant. Do you have any closing thoughts for all of your Schnitzel fans out there?
Support the victims. Keep getting the word out about Laura Owens, and to the Maricopa County Attorney and to Rachel Mitchell. I'm gonna plug it all day long until we have a resolution.
By the way, do you have any insider info as to the Maricopa County's investigation?
It's ongoing. Important people have been reached out to.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is a lot there that they have found, and I'm feeling pretty hopeful.
I said on the last episode, I think on Wednesday on Owens, that I don't think that there's a world that exists that she's not going to get charged with something. I think she's going to get charged. I think that they're going to offer her probation with no prison time, and they're going to give her a slap on the wrist, but they're going to give her something. The case is too big for them to just ignore.
Yes, and maybe not enough there to warrant jail time. I agree with you. Not being a legal expert, but I think you're right. But hopefully this will, I think the main thing for me, not that it matters what I think, but I think that moving forward, if she tries to do this to another person or more people, they will have, these court documented rulings against her, and it will be very difficult for her to be found believable in the court of law in the future.
I agree with that. I mean, her credibility is shot no matter where she goes, which direction she goes, litigation-wise. The only question that really exists is what is going to be her penalties for a perjury charge. They certainly have enough to get her.
Yeah.
There's no shortage of information out there, just even to the general public, where they could prove perjury.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think that they're gonna send her to prison. I'm with you on that one. What do you think, Melissa? She's like, yeah. All right, folks. That's all I got for Family Law After Dark for today. Schnitzel, thank you so much for joining us. It was a lot of fun. I hope
Thank
you
you
had
for
fun.
having me. It was great.
Melissa,
Definitely did. Thank you so much.
thank you so much for joining us as well as your second to the last episode as an employee of me. You know she's leaving for greener pastures after next Friday.
What are you doing?
She's gonna go make some more fucking money. That's what she's gonna do.
Well, good.
So she's
You can
gonna
buy
be.
those $8.50 a week groceries.
Yeah, go buy your own Fiji waters. How about that?
So, Walkie, you did not buy my Fiji water. I'm still throwing that in
I
his
will
face.
never, man. You know what Fiji water is they get the
If
same
I ever
shit.
come back to this office and I see the Fiji water, I'm gonna throw a tantrum.
I'm gonna go buy it for Jocelyn. Say, hey, look what we got. All right, folks. I love you guys all. I will see you guys next week. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe out there.